Hello Year 1 and welcome to today's maths learning. It is Thursday the 4th of February 2021. First of all, recapping some previous learned knowledge, can you write your numbers to 20? And if you want to challenge yourselves, then see if you can do up to 40 to recap that learning from before. Pause to do this. Then if you can move on to your calendar, as always, what day is it today? What day was it yesterday? And what day will it be tomorrow? Again, pause as and when you need to. And then what month are we in? What month was it? What month was it last month? And what month will it be next? So moving on to your learning for today. We are learning to add a one-digit number to a two-digit number. So how can we be successful? So first of all, we need to talk about what we mean by a one-digit number and what we mean by a two-digit number. So a one-digit number just means there is one number. So that's your numbers from 0 to 9, and then your two-digit number means that there are two numbers within the number. So you'll have two digits, okay? So there will be a 1 or a 10 and a 0, or your 12 will be a 10 and a 2, but it'll be like a 1 and a 2. So it's those numbers which can go all the way up to the 90s, but we're not going as far as that, so we'll probably go up to sort of 40, which is what we've been practicing working with. And obviously we're going to add those together. So a two-digit number with a one-digit number. So it might be 17 add 1 or 23 add 5, as there's some examples. So have a little think, talk to the person at home or write it down. What do you remember about adding from this week? What ways can we add? What methods can we use? And what manipulatives can we use? So there's a few questions there for you to think about just to support you with what you've been learning over the past week. So next question is, what can you use to help you? So there's some objects there to support you. So we've got the Dean, so jottings, counters, tens, frames, bead strings, number lines, blank number lines. All of those are really good resources and manipulatives that you can use to support you. Obviously, some of these are things that we use at school. If you haven't got access to those, be creative, think on your feet, and use some objects you can find around your home. So you can, in the learning today, with adding our two-digit and one-digit numbers, use jottings, use a number line bridge, use a blank number line, use tens frames, okay? And you can create your own number sentences using dice if you would like to. So here I've got a number sentence, okay? I've got 13 add 5 is the same as what number? So if I add those together, what number will I get? So there are a few ways that we can work this out. So we're going to look at using jottings, and we're going to look at using number lines. So first of all, we're going to work up this particular number sentence using jottings, and then when we move on to the next slide, we'll look at that we'll look at using a number line. So for 13 add 5, we just remember when we're looking at our 13, we did do lots of on partitioning, so it's looking at your tens and your ones in the number and how we represent that. So already here you can see what the number 13 looks like. So you could draw that just as I am. You might not have the objects, or you can use objects. Just as a rectangle is your 10 and then your 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then we would do the same here. We'd look at our number 5, and we would then represent our 5 using jottings. We'd draw 5 cubes, 5 counters, whatever you want to, or however you want to. Okay. And then what the idea is if you can, to fly high, is thinking about that counting on. So you do not have to draw your 13. You might just do your 5. Hold the 13 in your head and then count on 5 more. So 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and as always, you need to make sure that you write that number in. Okay, so this is one way that you can work this out using jottings. And as I said, you do not have to represent the number 13. If you can hold that in your head and count on, you can just count on the smaller number. Okay, let's carry on. So here is a number line. You can use an actual number line, or you can use a blank number line to work this one out. So let's have a try at this one together. So 13, that is our biggest number. So we find the biggest number on the number line to start with. Okay, so I'm going to make a little mark there. And then we need to jump 5 jumps. So make sure that we go on to the next number, okay, and make sure we jump correctly. So be really careful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can circle that because that's my answer, and then I can write that number in. Okay, so there we go. So that's how you can use a number line. If you want to use a blank number line, you can draw it out yourselves and then start with your biggest number. So you can just draw your line, add on your biggest number, so that's your 13, so we write that on there, and then you do your 5 individual jumps along there. So we would do add 1, we would then get 14, add another 1 to get to 15, add another 1 to get to 16. So we've got 1, 2, 3 jumps, so we need 5, so we need to keep going. Okay, and then let me move. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I need 5, so I need 1 more jump to get to 18. And as always, circle that number so you don't forget to write it in. Okay, so your methods you can use is your jot-ins, or you can use your number line. Okay, so they're the ways that you can do that. I've got lots of small number sentences here to support you. However, I'm not going to model all of them because I want you to have a try on your own with those ones. You can use practical objects first and then record it if you would like to. And just remember to look out for those numbers. Can you manipulate them and put your biggest number first? That's really important. So again, reminding you what you can use, as we've discussed, and I've showed you the ways that I would use. You can use tens frames if you would like to, and you need a few of those. However, I would like to see jot-ins or a number line. That's a bit more efficient. Okay, so fly highs. Can you manipulate the numbers and put the largest number first if it's not the largest number is not first already in that number sentence? Just makes it easier to hold that biggest number in your head and then count on the smallest number. Can you count on from 10? So it might not just be 10. You might be counting on, like I said, holding 13 in your head and then counting on. And then can you use your number bond knowledge to bridge? So sometimes your number sentences might be a bigger number where you may be able to use your number bond knowledge to bridge. So I'm just going to show you that in the next example here. So this one is a 2-digit number and 1-digit number, which is what we're learning. 17 add 5. So what we can do for this, and I'll show you what I mean by the bridging, is we find our number 17, or I can draw my number 17. Okay, so there's my number 17. That is my biggest number, so that goes first. And then I need to count on 5. Now I can either count on in ones, or I can partition my number 5. So what goes with 7 to make a 10? Okay, so I can split this number, and what can I partition out of 5? Just going to move that back so that's a bit in the way. I can partition my number 5 into 2 numbers. So what goes with 7 to make 20? So 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's 3. Okay, 3. So if I add my 3 to 17, that would make my number 20. And then how many would I have left out of 5? If I've already taken 3 away, I should have 2 left. Okay, so what I would then do is from 17 on my number line, okay, I draw my 17 on, and I then jump 3 straight away. So, and I can add 3 above there or in there. I haven't got space above, so I'm just going to write it in the jump. So I added 3, and that brings me to 20. That's my bridging. I found my number bond. Okay, so I've not found my number bond to 10, I found my number bond to 20, which is why we looked at that this week. And then I know I've got 2 left, so I can either do 2 jumps of 1, or I can just do a straight jump of 2. Okay, so this is what we call our chunking method. So I can do a jump of 2, in which I've got space there, so I can add 2 to get to 22. And then I can circle that and write that number 22 in. Okay. If you want to do 2 1 jumps, that's fine. You can do a jump to 21 and then a jump to 22. But the chunking method is using your number bonds and your number knowledge to make it a bit more efficient, so easier, instead of doing lots of little jumps of 1. So that is your fly high. That's a big challenge. So I look forward to seeing you can do that. And then there's a nice little reasoning question for you to have a think about, okay, and to challenge yourselves with. And as always, share your learning with us on the parent support email. I'd love to see you try and fly high and challenge yourself to use a number line to chunk and use your number bonds to chunk along that number line and bridge to 10s or to your 20s. Thank you for joining me and enjoy. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing your work.